So, when someone is in a hospital and they faced a great accident, they ask for some blood. And they say specifically that we need A positive blood or A negative blood or B blood, O blood. So, and you realize what these are. These are blood groups. Now, we're going to make it clear to you what blood groups are and how they vary and why can't we give any blood to anyone. So for blood there are four types of blood basically. So this is blood. This is four types of blood. So there are four types of blood, and blood has two special type of things belonging to them, two very special things. So first special thing is antigen. And you ask, what is antigen? Antigen is what makes that blood cell. That is the antigen. And another special type of things, that is the antibody. And you already know how an antibody works. It fights against unknown things in the body. So it fights against unknown. So there is two types of things, antigen and antibody. So there are antigens and antibodies. So if a blood has antigen A, the naming of that blood, the whole blood cell or the whole blood group, will be A. And we know that there is also an antibody. So antibody fights against the unknown other antigens. So let's suppose that this blood A, it cannot have A antibody, because if there is A antibody in this A blood group, then the A antibody will destroy this A antibody. If we have here, so let's say we have A antibody, so it will destroy this A antigen, so this blood cell will not exist. So for doing that, for escaping from that, it will have the opposite antigen, antibody, opposite of antigen, antibody. So what is the opposite of this antigen A? It will be B. So it will create antibody B. You will get to know why I give B right in a while. So there is also another type of antigen, that is B. Yeah, and it makes the blood group B. So it will have also an antibody, and it cannot have antibody B, it will have the other one. So there are only two types of antigens and antibody, A and B. So now this will have the opposite antibody of the antigen. So the antigen is B, so it will have the opposite antibody, that is A. We'll denote it by smaller a this time. And now there is another type, that there may be both antigens. So let's say both A and B antigen is present in a blood cell. So we will call this blood cell AB. Yes, of course, AB. And get this, as there are two antigens A and B already present here, so there is no chance of having any antibodies here. So if we have antibody A, let's say this will destroy this A, and if we have B, the B will destroy B. So there is no chance of having any antibody here. So there will be zero antibody, or we could say there will be no antibody. And also there is another type of blood group, that is the zero blood group. So zero blood group has no antigen. It has no antigen, that's why it is called the zero antibody. So there is no antibody, and there is no antigen, that's why it is called the zero blood cell. Or might someone say that is a famous word, the O positive or O negative. So this is the O blood cell, but I like to call it the zero blood cell because it has no antigen, so we cannot name it, so we name it zero. And as it has no antigen, so it has the chance of having both the antibodies, because the antibodies will not fight against the antigens. So these two antis here, just like the antis of our country, they fight against each other, anti ei bhabi eshob koren কেন, etc type. So yeah, these antis also fight against each other, so you have to watch out so the antigen and antibody doesn't match, or they are not the same at the same room or the same blood cell. So keep that in mind. So these blood cells are in harmony because there is a antigen and there is no antibody to fight against A in here, so it is good, safe. This is also safe, the AB is also safe, 0 is also safe, or you could say O. Okay, now there is a special type of thing that was discovered by Carl Landsteiner in 1901 about finding out the blood groups. That is the rhesus factor. So rhesus factor is a special type of antigen. So it is pronounced as RHESUS, rhesus factor. So rhesus factor is a spatial antigen. It's a very special antigen. So any blood group might have a rhesus factor or might not have rhesus factor. So if it has rhesus factor, it will be denoted as plus, and if it does not have any rhesus factor, it will be denoted as minus. So here comes the term A positive or negative, A plus, A minus, B plus, B minus, AB plus, AB minus, O plus, O minus. So yeah, these are the factors. Antigen, the rhesus factor, special type of antigen, keep that in mind. It's a special antigen, not antibody. So yeah, that's the basic naming and structures of blood group. And we have another point to discover, that is the giving and taking of bloods in case of emergencies. So how does that occur? So now let's talk about donating and receiving blood. So in case of donating blood, what plays a factor? These are factors. What plays in factors are antigens and also Rh factor, as it is a special type of antigen in case of donating, and in case of receiving, what will play factors are the antibody, because antibody, it gets activated when some harmful stuff gets inside of the body, or it sometimes gets activated automatically. So we need to keep in mind the antibody. So yeah, that's it. So remember these things. These are very important, that in donating, antigen and Rh factor keeps in factors, and in case of receiving, antibody plays a great factor. And an important notice about Rh factor here is negative can give to positive and negative. So Negative can give to positive and both negative, and positive can give to only positive. Positive can only give to positive, but negative can give to positive and negative because of the RH factor. Keep that in mind. Because when it's negative, it has no RH factor, rhesus factor, no antigen. So in case of donating, antigen plays an important role, RH factor plays an important role. So as there is no RH factor, so yeah, it can give to both plus and minus. But in case of positive, there is RH factor, there is RH factor. So we cannot give to someone who doesn't have any RH factor. In case of donating, we should always keep in mind that if I'm a donator and I have rhesus factor, I can only donate to the guys who has rhesus factor. So keep that in mind. That's very important in case of medical science. So now we'll get back to some examples. We will create a chart, very typical chart of donating and receiving. So yeah, let's create. This shouldn't match, and if it doesn't match, then we can give it, because if it doesn't match, then they will not fight and it will be a harmony there, so no problem. So can a positive give to a positive? So first of all, we will do the rhesus factor, the plus. There is donation, there is plus. So we know that plus can give to plus, so there is no problem in rhesus factor. And now we will see the antigen of the donator and the antibody of the receiver. So donator A, it has antigen A, and the receiver A positive has antibody B. So it shouldn't be a problem. So it has A and it has B, so it shouldn't be a problem. It doesn't match, so I'll just click it yes. Now the next one, A negative. So we know that positive cannot give to negative, so we'll see that the rhesus factor didn't match, so we'll cross it. Sorry, crossed. Okay. Now in that case, the rhesus factor, in the third case, rhesus factor of B positive, A also positive, rhesus factor no problem. But here it has antigen A, but B has antibody A. So these will fight and it will get cancelled out. They cannot live in harmony, so cross. And now the next part here, the same thing. It has A antibody, so it cannot live in past. And AB, it has no antibody. It has zero antibody. So we will say yes, he can take. And there is also positive RH factor, so no problem. Oh, now it is positive and negative, so nope. RH factor didn't match. Now again, positive RH factor matched, but it has A and B both antibodies, so yeah, they'll fight. It cannot take. And yeah, A positive, O negative. So negative, positive cannot give to negative, so yeah, that's out of the question. So yeah guys, I finished the A positive one, and you guys try and try at home to try to finish the whole table. And if you cannot do it, just write it in the comment section that yeah, I couldn't do it, I need help. And if you did it, then yeah, congratulations, and leave a message that you did it. So yeah guys, good luck.